for being here. Oh my gosh. Hello, it's Allie here, and it has been a minute since I have filmed anything at all. So that's pretty fun. I am back behind the camera, in front of the camera, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely in front of the camera. But I'm back, and I think I am more motivated right now because it is finally my favorite season, fall. The day I'm filming this is actually October 1st. I hope it comes out pretty quick, but I don't want to overestimate myself. So I'm gonna take it easy, but it's October, most likely when you are watching this. And I love this time of year. I love to decorate my house with little fall things everywhere. I love pumpkin flavored things. I love cold mornings and warm afternoons and chilly evenings. I love that flow. I like wearing sweaters all the time. I like those warm tones. I love everything about this season. I am really praying that this fall in particular, I can get into better rhythms of relaxation and rest. That is something I've realized I'm not super great at doing at all. So I have been really just like prayerful about what that looks like for me during this season, and how, without erring too much on the side of laziness and self-indulgence, can I still rest in a godly way and do that in a way that fuels my work and what I do. All that to say, one of the biggest things that I have really been reminded of this year is that reading brings me a lot of rest and relaxation, and I love to read, and I've been reading more of a variety of things than probably ever before in my life, and that's really cool. And so I'm really trying to lean into that this season in particular. So today we're gonna go over my fall TBR list, what I plan to read in the next 2-ish months. I hope that this is like the minimum list. Like, I hope that I outdo myself and can read even more than this, but this is like the goal. This year, like I said, I've been really rediscovering my love for reading, but this year in particular, I've like kind of built over the past couple of years this like momentum of it, and I'm finally about to reach my goal of reading 50 books a year. The past 2 years have probably hit like 30-ish maybe, and I've tried different things. I've tried like reading challenge lists, and I've tried, just recommendations or that kind of thing, but I think the idea of doing things kind of seasonally has motivated me a lot this year. Like during the summer, I read the Summer I Turned Pretty series and other books that kind of fit that vibe and that season. And so as I have been preparing for fall, I have curated a list of books that I think will fit the autumnal vibes that we're going for here. I am 10 books away from my 50 book goal. So I haven't counted actually how many are here, but I think I'll be close. So I am excited about that. I'm also interested to see like how reading books that I tried to pick out based on like the season or the vibe, how that maybe continues to motivate me to read and transition into other seasons, because it's like I will naturally be ready for winter and snow by the time the season's over. And I don't know, I just think it's gonna be really cool. Thank you for watching today, and thank you for being here, and without further ado, here's my list. All right, so I actually want to start with 2 books that I just finished, because I technically read them during the fall season. The first day of fall is like September 22nd or whatever, and so I did read 2 books since then. The first was Prince Caspian in the Chronicles of Narnia series. One other kind of habit of reading I've gotten in lately is when I read a series is to not binge it, which is hard for me because I like to do that, but I think it's helped me stay a little bit more like excited to get back into the world, rather than like missing it when I finish it, like a binge read. Like, I can already tell I really want to do that with Harry Potter again, and I'm nervous. And so I have been reading Narnia in this way, where I read a book and then I kind of take a break and read 2 or 3 other books and then come back to it. And so this is me coming back to Prince Caspian. This is the only one that we don't own, which was weird. I'm not really sure what happened to the set that we have and why Prince Caspian's not in it, but I borrowed from a friend, and man, that series is just so magical, and I love the tone of it. I love when C.S. Lewis like breaks the fourth wall with it and is like, and you know that they were telling this person this, like, you know. it feels so silly and whimsical. And when you add that tone on top of just the setting of those books, man, I love it. So I've actually haven't seen the newest Narnia, and by new I mean like years ago, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, which is the next book. I should have put that book down here because that will probably be on the list too, but I didn't. So that's where we're at. The other book that I've already finished this season is this book right here, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. I have seen many great reviews about this book, and it did not disappoint. Like I said, just that theme of relaxation and wanting to slow down and get real rest that actually like connects me to the Lord and reminds me who I am. That's all in here. And so this is a really good way to kind of kick off the season 2. These practices that we get into, whether they are things like reading or putting limits on our phone or things like that, like they all are good ways to refocus and recenter and remember just how human we are. So this was like a good book to like set the tone for why I want to be reading. So thank you. But okay, so that's the preface. Those are the 2 books that I've read so far. And again, before we jump into my list, I feel like I'm really keeping you on the edge of your seat here. But before I jump in, I want to try a new snack. Pumpkin spice yogurt pretzels. I got these from Aldi today. Obviously an impulse buy, did not go planning to buy them. The only other time I've had pumpkin spice yogurt pretzels are the ones from Publix, and I am very interested to see if these are any better, because even though I don't recall, I feel like these have to be cheaper. But don't hold me to that. So let's see. Whoa. They smell very strong. And it's probably a good thing, I think. All right, so this is her. Let's see how she is. There's definitely like more of a sugary taste on this one. They feel sweeter, you know? So they're still pretty good. I feel like these will be easier to not eat an entire pack in one sitting because they're very sweet, which I don't say a lot. I'm usually not affected by that, but yeah, I definitely feel that in my mouth. I don't know, 7 out of 10. Not the most fall drink that I could find, but just a key lime LaCroix. Thank you. All right, now for real this time, without further ado, it's time for my book list. Where do we want to start? Probably the one that I'm like have been putting off for a while. That's what this book is. This is a book, Keeper of the Lost Cities Lodestar, that I have not picked up and has been sitting on my bedside table for weeks. I borrowed this from some very sweet friends. They have been so patient with me as I've been reading this series, and they have let me borrow one at a time, and I have taken far too long to read a book that's insides are not that complicated. But this is the 6th book in this series, I believe. And if you haven't heard of Keeper of the Lost Cities, it is a super cute read. Like I definitely think like the characters are very innocent and adorable. My friends described it to me as like a girl Harry Potter, like that's younger, like that just has younger vibes, and maybe like the stakes feel not as high as I do in the Harry Potter books, at least to me. I think they are, but like something about the tone of it all makes me a lot more relaxed when reading this book. And the main character is a girl, which I go back and forth on whether I actually like that, and maybe that's not very I don't know, girly of me to not be a big fan of like female protagonists. I think it just really depends on the writing. But I do like this series. I just simply have not picked it up. So it is my goal this fall, friend, if you're watching, it's my goal this fall to read this one. I'm debating doing it next just to go ahead and do it. But I also really want to read this next one. So we'll see how it goes. The one I'm probably most excited for, my most anticipated read, is actually hilarious because I feel like everyone in the world has probably read this book except for me. So it's Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. Okay, so I have read 2 other Agatha Christie books, and you can probably guess which they are because they both have recently become movies. Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile, and I love them. Now, did I read them because I wanted to see the movie? Yes. Could this also be the case for this one? There is another adaptation of this movie coming out soon. I think on... Am I crazy? I'm not going to say anything because I think I actually might be wrong. But I'm pretty sure there's another one coming out. I'm not going to look it up. You can look it up. But I'm super excited to read this one. I feel like people say this is one of, if not the best, of like the very highly known ones by her. And so I think it's going to be really cool. It seems very like classic mystery. And again, it just really leans into that fall vibe that I'm going for. Like, I want to be a little bit spooked. I want to really have to think on the edge of my seat, but also like cozy. Like, I'm not gonna want to get up from reading this book. This is probably the one here that like I'm most excited for, that I will probably like read the fastest if I had to guess, just because I feel like I'm ready to be a person who knows what this book is like. That's the truth. All right, what next? These kind of go together, and I hope I get to both of them. I really do. Again, I am so behind on so many things. Everything that's like normal for, especially for people who read, it's like, what do you mean you haven't read that already? And that is some Jillian Flynn, Sharp Objects and Dark Places. I also have not read Gone Girl, but I didn't buy it the last time that I went to the bookstore. I've actually had these for forever. I've probably had these for a couple years and haven't read them. And I got them when I went back home recently and added them back to my shelf. And I said, these are gonna be, again, that like, I don't want to get up from reading this. I'm gonna sit down with my cozy little drinks under my cozy little blanket and be absolutely spooked and wrecked at how crazy this is. I know nothing about either of these either. This is so exciting. I feel like a lot of these books I'm gonna know very little about going in, other than they're gonna be slightly disturbing. That's all I got from these 2. A nerve-fraying thriller is one of the reviews on Dark Places, and skillful and disturbing, darkly original for this one. I do not know which one I will read first. If you have an opinion, let me know. I would love to hear if there's one you like better or one you particularly think read that one last, because then you won't like the other one as much if you read that one first. Does that make sense? I'm gonna hope yes. So, Jillian Flynn, you have finally made it to my list. I hope to fall in love with your writing, but if I don't, no offense. I say all this because I feel like I'm not a super skilled, like, what's the word? I can't even think of words. Like, I'm not really good at reviewing books. I don't think I have good like analyses, and I don't know, I just enjoy almost anything. I'm never one to not finish a book anymore anyway. Every time I say that, I think about the time I didn't finish one of those Mouse on the Motorcycle books when I was like a kid. I kept falling asleep, but now I don't do that. So I just love to read, and even if I'm not super invested in the story, I'm like, I've committed to you, random author and random characters. I'm committed to your storyline, and I'm gonna be here until the last page, even if it's unsatisfying. Take that with a grain of salt, as I recommend books too, because truly I love almost everything, and any review that I have is probably not super accurate. Does that make you want to listen to me? Probably not. I'm gonna stop talking before you turn this off. This next one is one that I just found on our shelves. I think it came from my husband's house, or old house, I guess. We obviously live together. I feel like this will be the one that like I maybe go in and out of. Like, maybe I don't read this straight through. Maybe I like pick it up every now and again, because it's Edgar Allan Poe, The Fall of the House of Usher and Other Tales. What's more folly and spooky than Edgar Allan Poe? Probably nothing. And I've never read just like for fun Edgar Allan Poe, and I think there's probably a lot of people in that boat who I've only ever read this in a literature class. I don't know, I want to read it for fun and see what happens. I want to go to it with like, I don't have to answer quiz questions on this on Monday night. I can just read this. I am really interested in that. Yeah, that'll be cool. Man, now I'm more excited about this one because I like forgot that it was obviously like a bunch of short stories. Like that'll be so fun, just sprinkled in like every other day, just another one. Man, I love to read. I'm getting so excited. Man, this isn't reading related, but last night we watched Hocus Pocus 2. And my husband actually hadn't seen the first one, so earlier in the day we watched the first one and then end of the day with the second one, and I just thought it's just so silly. Halloween and this whole season and everything that comes with it is just so fun, and it's great to just lean into it, you know, just to like, I don't know, just let yourself be so entrenched in the fall and the celebration of like what seasons hold. And that's where we're at with Edgar Allan Poe. I think it's just gonna be a really fun, it's gonna feel classic, because it is classic. If you're an Edgar Allan Poe fan, I'd love to hear from you. Again, these are the last ones, and they kind of go together, but these are the last ones that I'm like, for sure, I want to read. I would love if I can get through all of these. I just don't want to overextend myself and then be sad if I don't reach my goals. So we are starting achievable. That's SMART goals, achievable. The last two are the two, I believe it's a trilogy, but I only bought 2 of them because they didn't have the other one in paperback, and I just didn't want to spend the money yet, if I'm being totally honest with you. I have heard good things about this from people that I really trust, from people who have a good read on Goodreads. Ha, that's pretty good. The Inheritance Games, all that to say, the Inheritance Games. I know absolutely nothing about these books, so I'm actually gonna read the back of it right now, and we'll see how this goes. Sorry if I say words wrong, because I truly have no idea what this is about to say, so there might be names or weird terms that I don't know how to say, and I'm just gonna go for it. All right, here we go. The Inheritance Games. Avery Grams has a plan for a better future: survive high school, win a scholarship, and get out. But her luck changes in an instant when billionaire Tobias Hawthorne dies and leaves her virtually his entire fortune. The only catch? Avery must move into his sprawling mansion, full of secret passages, riddles, and codes. Unfortunately for Avery, Hawthorne House is also occupied by the family that was just disinherited. This includes the 4 Hawthorne grandsons, dangerous, magnetic boys who grew up with every expectation that one day they would inherit billions. Heir apparent Grayson is convinced that Avery is a con woman, and he's determined to take her down. But his brother Jameson views her as their grandfather's last hurrah, a twisted riddle, a puzzle to be solved, caught in the world of wealth and privilege with danger around every turn. Avery will have to play the game herself just to survive. What does that mean? Like, I don't know, that just sounds like, man, like passages, riddles, all that stuff, inheritance, like this just sounds so like, I don't know, and like I feel like I'm gonna get just enthralled in this book, and I obviously don't want to spoil anything about the next one, but man, I am excited for this one. I feel like this is gonna be one that's hard to not just like jump right into and binge the series, so that might be one that I do just read them all 3. It's only 3, right? So we'll see, but I hope to get through these 2 before the snow starts to come, and by the snow I just mean December. Yeah, so that is my list. Here she is in her glory. It's not a ton, like I said, I don't even know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. My goal for the whole year is 50. If I were to get through all of these, man, I obviously wouldn't slow down. I have other books on my shelf that I've been meaning to read. Daisy Jones and the Six is one of those. My husband just got it for me, but I haven't put it on this list yet because, again, if I don't get there, I don't want to be bummed. So that is like my backup list. Those are my subs, or I guess not even my subs, it's my overtime players. So, wow. Like I said, I am just hoping to really focus in on resting and enjoying this fall season. I feel like the way that I'm gonna really channel that is through the books that I read, but I also just want to be really present with the things that I'm a part of. I am really blessed with just the community that I have and the opportunities that I have to be with people and around people. And I obviously don't want to take that for granted. And so I want to be really intentional with the time that I am alone, but the time that I'm with people as well. And so finding ways to even rest with people, like do restful activities with the people that maybe I pour into or that pour into me, I feel like could really help as well. But all that to say, fall is about to be a beautiful season. If you have any reviews of these books that I plan to read, I would love to hear them. I would love your opinions, or if there's anything that I should know ahead of time, or anything that you're like, let me know when you get to the part, like if there's anything that you want to talk about these books, I would love to chat. If there's any other fall books that you're reading, any that are just that autumn vibe, that feel of like, man, it's cozy, I need to drink a warm drink, and any book that makes you feel like that, I'd love to hear about it. And who knows, maybe I'll get there, maybe I'll fly through these books. I have been really glad to have reading this year. It has been super great, and I hope you feel that too. If you're not a reader, I highly recommend. I think everyone can be a reader, and what a better season than fall. All right, well, I think that is all I have. Again, thank you so much for being here, friend. Have a happy fall and get to reading. Bye.